We have a gentleman who started his first company at the age of just 17 and went on to build one of Asia's most remarkable hospitality empires. It is an absolute honor to welcome Mr. William Heinecke, founder and chairman of Minor International, to the stage. He is a pioneering entrepreneur and one of Southeast Asia's most well-known business leaders. Over the decades, he has built Minor International into a global powerhouse, expanding hospitality, restaurants, and lifestyle retail with a presence across 58 countries. In conversation with him, we welcome back Mr. Manav Thadani, founder chairman of Hotelivate.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bill.
Afternoon.
You know,
Wow, these are big cushions you got here.
you're a big man.
That's why I don't need a big cushion.
Well, first of all, I want to start by congratulating you for that.
Oh, thank you.
You signed that yesterday.
We did it in Calcutta.
An Anantara in Calcutta.
That's correct.
We were happy to be part of it.
Well, we were happy to have you along.
I know the owners are out here, so this is what, your fourth asset or fifth asset in India?
Yes, it is.
You
And
signed one this morning.
That's right, with Coorg. So we're very pleased about that too.
So if you keep coming here often enough, there won't be a role left for your development team because every time you come here, you end up signing 2-3 assets.
Well, as long as you keep having me, I'll be happy to come and sign a few more.
So tell me, Bill, why minor?
Well, you know, I started this company when I was 17, and we never envisaged it would become quite as big as it has become. But the reason it got the name Minor was because at the time when I was discussing with the lawyer who was way above my education level, he said, well, what are you going to call it? And I said, I don't know, what would you suggest? And he said, well, you're still a minor, so let's call it Minor. And so that's where it is. So,
And
if I'd been a little older, it might have been Major.
fair enough. And you know, from whatever we've heard about you, you have boats, you have cars, you have planes. I learned at our last event you have a train
Yes, we
as
do.
well. And then who is really paying the bill for all of these excursions that you have?
Well, I dare not say it's the owners. So no, it's really, these are my passions, and I've pursued them for a long time and managed to mix a lot of them with business.
Right.
Aviation is a large part of our business. Cars have been always a personal passion of mine, and next week I'm on my way to Rome for the Anantara Concorso. The first time they've had a Concorso in Rome in 65 years, and it celebrates the 100th anniversary of the very first Rome Concorso for cars.
Right. So when we met in February of 25, you had 560 hotels in your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
How much has that grown to?
Well, you know, today we have 640
Wow.
that are either open and or we have an HMA signed. We don't count the LOIs. We've got far too many of those. We're trying to convert them all to HMAs and operating hotels.
So 640 is the new number?
That's the new number.
Not bad. And what took you so much time to come to India?
Well, the world is a big place, and we saved the best for last.
Right.
So,
You know, I know one of your closest friends is Anil Thadani.
sorry, say that again?
One of your closest friends is Anil Thadani,
Yes, very well.
right? He's in some ways more better known and hotelier out there. And we wanted him to come and interview you here. And of course, I think he has a meeting with the Pope this week, so he's not here.
And he will be joining me in Rome. So
Right, right. So tell me, while you saved the best for the last, you also made a acquisition a few years ago, which was the NH collection, that, if I recall, was just before COVID. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, that was the biggest acquisition we'd ever made. We sort of warmed up to it by starting with Oaks out of Australia, which was a small acquisition. We got a little bit more daring and then bought Tivoli out of Portugal. And finally, it culminated in 2018 when we bought NH, which was $3 billion purchase for us, the biggest purchase we'd ever done. And promptly, what the analysts and all of the advisors that we had, nobody told us about COVID. That wasn't on anybody's radar screens. And then when COVID hit us, we found ourselves losing money at a rapid rate because we'd become suddenly very asset heavy. Almost all those hotels that we acquired were either owned or on long-term lease. And as a result, we then had 8 straight quarters of losses. We lost $1 billion. And I know it's $1 billion because we had to report every quarter exactly how much we lost in cash. And so I never think of it as a $3 billion purchase. It was really a $4 billion purchase.
Right, right. And do you think we'll see an NH collection in India anytime soon?
I think so. I think it's a brand that has such a strong footprint in Europe. And I think as you look at so much now inbound travel coming to India, and I think the inbound travel that's going to come from those further distances like South America and Europe is going to stay longer in India. And they're going to look for those familiar names. And right. NH is one of the strongest, especially in, I would say, first tier and second tier cities
right.
here in India.
So I know you said you left India, best for the last, but you've also been in Sri Lanka for a while.
We've been in Sri Lanka for a long while. I'm not sure we've ever made any money there yet, but we're looking forward to it. But we've gone through wars, and we've gone through tsunamis, and we've gone through COVID, and but we never give up.
Right, right. Yeah. So, we have a full audience here representing a lot of different brands. You are a bit of both. You have your own brands under Minor, whether it's the Anantara or NH Collection or Avani. But you also own 3 Four Seasons. You have a couple of Marriotts. You have a couple of other brands, perhaps. What's the story there? Are you an owner, operator? Where are you?
Well, we started out with Marriott, and we also became, at one time, we were Marriott's largest franchisee in Thailand. We had 5 hotels altogether. Today, we still own a JW Marriott, which started long before Anantara did. And we still have 3 Four Seasons hotels. Probably best known, the Four Seasons in Samui for its White Lotus, which I might add, I had a small starring role in, sitting in the bar in one scene, which you'd have to look very hard to find me, but nonetheless, I was there. Right. But White Lotus was quite something, and so yes, we have the 3 Four Seasons, and that also predates Anantara. So we still continue with that. Everybody keeps asking, when are we going to rebrand? Well, I don't think we are, because the Four Seasons and the Anantara of equal, we're either number 1 or number 2 in the markets where we operate.
Right. So if you were given a choice, are you doubling down in the markets that you're already present, or are you looking to go into newer markets like you've come into India the last 2 years?
We're really now very focused on the new markets. We've, we do a lot of plug and play in Europe and various places, but it's the new markets that are very exciting to us. I would say we announced our first hotel in Japan, and we're about to announce a second one in Kyoto. I'm on my way to Morocco. We hope to have an announcement from there. Turkey, we hope to make an announcement very shortly. And so it's really the areas that we haven't penetrated yet that we're most focused on now.
And sorry, how many hotels do you have in Thailand? Because that's your home base.
In Thailand, we would probably have, I guess, 25, 30 hotels. That's it.
So it's an unusual situation, right? Because we all think of Minor Group being a Thai company, which I'm sure you are, but you have more hotels overseas than you have at your home country.
The same thing with restaurants. So we have, today, although we're listed in Thailand as a Thai publicly listed company, only 25% of our revenue actually comes from Thailand. 75% of our revenue comes from outside Thailand. So we're really a Thai multinational, you might say.
Right. And do you have a favorite child amongst your brands?
Well, I think, I could tell you that it's very hard to choose, but I'll tell you honestly, it's probably the brands that I built. And Anantara was the first brand that I built for myself. And then the second one was really Avani. And they're both derived from Sanskrit.
Right, right.
So they have an Indian influence.
Right. And you've always kind of focused on luxury, upper upscale. You've never necessarily looked at the budget mid-scale, or is that changed?
In Australia, we have iStay, which is one of our budget things. We also have Oaks, which is also at the lower end of the scale, you might say. And we have probably 40, 50 hotels in Australia and New Zealand under the Oaks brand. We've also got Oaks in the service apartment area in Dubai. So that's been it's still an important part and an important segment for us.
Right. And do you see some of these brands actually coming into this part of the world? Oaks.
Absolutely.
It's
penetrated everywhere else, and there's no reason it won't come to here to India too.
Right, right. We'll take questions from the audience if you do have one. So use the app. If you have any questions, you can put them up, and maybe in a few minutes we'll answer them. Coming back, Bill, you've always spoken about experiential travel, right? And way before it actually became popular, I heard about the story about your being involved with Aman and your friend Adrian. But one of the other things is aviation, which is it's in your blood. You like flying. I think you have a pilot license.
I have a pilot both for fixed wing and rotary wing. So.
And did you fly here?
I did indeed, but I was sitting in the back seat of my plane, not in the front seat. So.
Right. But do you still fly often enough on your own?
No, I must admit that I don't fly as often as the last time I flew was a helicopter, which is still a very challenging experience for me and one that I enjoy.
Right.
As the planes get more sophisticated, our jets can make it nonstop to London. So I prefer to leave it to the professionals.
So. How come you got it? And has it been a private passion, aviation, or is it a commercial?
It's a bit of both. Really, very few people realize it, but our first hotel was in Pattaya, which is not necessarily one of the prime tourist outlets for Thailand, but it was at that time. And the second hotel was in Hue Hin, which is where the Anantara was born. And on a good day, it would take you 8 hours to travel between the Pattaya Hotel and the Hue Hin Hotel. And so I discovered that if you had a plane, you could fly it in 30 minutes. So there was a great incentive to learn to fly. And I spent the rest of my weekends commuting between the two hotels by plane. I bought a plane. I bought one of the first privately owned planes in Thailand. And
right.
It was rather interesting because when I bought the plane, no one was allowed to own a plane. A private individual, it was only owned by the airlines or the Air Force, and or it could be owned by the flying club. So what they said to me is, well, I'll tell you what, if you buy that plane and you donate it to our flying club, we will allow only you to fly it.
Wow.
So other than trying to explain to my bank that I was buying this plane but giving it away the next day, and I no longer owned it.
Right. So one of the things that a lot of people in this room don't know, but you also are a restaurateur, and if I'm correct, you're the world's largest restaurateur because of the sheer number of restaurants that you own.
Well, I don't think we're the world's largest, but we're certainly up there. We own directly about 2,700 restaurants, ranging from things like that you'd know, like Burger King, to brands that we own, like Benihana and Sizzler, Dairy Queen, which we are a franchisee for. But our restaurants spread around the world. We're in 25 countries, I think, with our brands. We own several other companies in the food business, like we're a large shareholder of S&P, which has a number of restaurants in London. We're a large shareholder in Bread Talk, which has Din Tai Fung, and again, we have a number of restaurants in London. We own the Wolseley Hotel Group as well as the Wolseley Restaurants. So those have been...
last time we met, I told you if you ever bring Din Tai Fung to India, I want to be your partner. I love that restaurant.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and actually, I was just in Calcutta, and I had a chance to see one of our new Thai restaurants, which is franchised to the Jayapuri family, where they've opened a Thai restaurant here. We have 3 of them currently. here in India. So the fast food side of our business is also expanding into India.
So tonight you'll have some Thai food. We have a chef who's coming specially from Bangkok.
Okay.
A Thai chef, and Grand Hyatt is putting out quite a spread because they've got chefs coming in from all over the world. So
well, I will be enjoying some Thai food in my plane on my way home. I have to leave you tonight. So,
so which is your favorite restaurant brand, if I may ask?
I have to say that I'm very biased towards Wolseley. It was often joked about that I could never get a seat in Wolseley in London, so we ended up buying the restaurant. And that was the beginning of the whole thing. Benihana has always been a fun one for me because we started as a franchisee and then we ended up buying the company. So,
right. And do any of these restaurants actually operate inside your hotels, or is it just that the restaurant business and the hotel business is two different?
No, we have both models. We also operate restaurants inside of some of our friends, Holiday Inn, Hilton, with coffee clubs and other brands of ours. We have Benihanas in many of our hotels, and even the odd Accor hotel. We have Zuma. We have a joint venture with Zuma, so we operate two Zumas. We're agnostic when it comes to brands. We just want to make money. Hotels are very expensive things, and we will do whatever it takes to ensure that they're profitable.
And if I'm correct, both the restaurant business, the food business, and the hotel business is in a same company, but two separate holdings.
That's correct.
So which is the bigger of the two? Is that something?
Hotels are still the bigger of the two. If you were to take all of our hotel restaurants and combine that with our separate restaurant division, that would clearly be the larger. But
right.
As it is now, we split it between hotels, which includes restaurants, and restaurants separately, which are freestanding.
Right. I know we have a few questions out there, but I'm not necessarily being able to read them.
Your eyes are better than mine, so I'll leave it to you.
I'm struggling, so unless we put them up, I won't be able to, pick them up. But I guess they will put it up. So, the last few months or the last 1 year has been very turbulent. We've had a lot. The world is on fire, literally in some places. What does success look like for you today versus when you first started?
When we first start, I don't know how many of you have been entrepreneurs or started the way we did, but we started with $1,200. And really the only thing we wanted to do was survive. If I could make the payroll, I was good for 30 days. And today it's more about sustainability and looking at the bigger picture. But you know what? It hasn't changed a lot, because if we make it to payday and pay the 91,000 people that we have scattered around the world, I'm good for 30 days. Labor and team members are the most expensive part of our whole expense structure. People.
Right.
So I'm still trying to survive.
Look, I'm looking at some of these questions. How do you make Anantara stand out in a very competitive market segment?
I think, really making Anantara stand out has been a very important thing, because it is a competitive market, not only in India, but everywhere in the world. We put a lot of emphasis on our food and beverage. We put a lot of emphasis on our wellness and longevity, things that our peers haven't done. We tend to put our own equity into these things before we ask our owners to invest in them, and we demonstrate whether it's successful or not. And then, of course, we've been very focused where we go to give and deliver incredible experiences. We pioneered the northern part of Thailand with our elephant camps. There's a Four Seasons elephant camp and there's an Anantara elephant camp, and they've both been extremely successful. We've gone to places all over the world where we have unique experiences. We were one of the first players in the Maldives. We've been there for 20 years. But I love diving, and so that was a natural place to want to go. I don't think I'll ever have to, Mr. Marriott won't have to worry about me challenging him. I'm too busy in discovering little interesting places that give experiences to the people that love Anantara. And that's going to keep me busy for a long time.
Right. And do you still go diving?
I still dive, and I dive with my great-grandchildren now. They tend to snorkel on the top, and I dive. But my grandchildren dive with me, and my great-grandchildren are snorkeling above me.
How old are your great-grandchildren?
My oldest one is 4, so that's
Very
4
nice.
generations. We're 4 generations Thai, which makes us perhaps a very unusual Thai family.
And I think if you are a 4-generational Thai, your name, Heinecke, becomes a local Thai name.
You're absolutely right. You only have to go 3 generations to achieve that.
Right. So, have you ever thought of running for political office?
Definitely not. I think politics is something we stay out of completely. And as a matter of fact, I think one of the rules that I put in my book is we have no businesses that require, government support. In Thailand, they don't get too involved when we're selling a pizza or a hotel room, so we like it that way. We don't build any infrastructure. We're not involved in any large energy or transportation projects.
There was one more question I'd seen earlier about, will you need to Indianize Anantaras when they open in India, or have you gone into markets where you've kind of changed the brand to kind of suit the local?
Absolutely. I think too many brands, you can wake up anywhere in the world and know that you're in a hotel of that brand. I'm not going to mention any brands, but for me, whether you're in an Anantara, wherever you wake up in the world, I want you to know you're there. So our Anantaras in the Emirates have a very Emirati feeling. The Anantaras in the Maldives have a Maldivian feeling. The Anantaras in Thailand have a Thai feeling. The Anantara in Dublin has a very Irish feeling. So yes, we try to localize it, and that's one of the things that I think has set us apart from our peers.
So we are in a world of crisis currently, but what's the best decision you have ever taken? Not in the current crisis, but in any crisis situation that you've had?
Best decision I've ever taken during a crisis is to probably stand back and look for the opportunities, because I think through all of the crises that I've been through, including COVID, including the tsunami, we've seen tremendous opportunities. And inevitably, after the crisis, you see some of the fastest and highest growth that you ever saw in tourism. I think we saw that after COVID. We saw it after the tsunami. I expect that we're going to see it after this war is over.
Right, right. And in a world that is constantly on fire, what keeps you calm as a leader?
Probably spending time in my longevity clinic. I'm intending to live to be 100, and I want to enjoy it right up to the last minute. So to me, staying healthy is probably the most important thing at this stage of my life.
Right. And if you had to, when you run your businesses, if you had to choose between people or strategy, what would you choose?
Hands down, people. What it was Napoleon said, don't give me your brilliant generals, give me your lucky generals.
Right, right. And finally, in a world of fire, what gives you hope?
I think the fact that I'm an optimist. I always look to that there will be a tomorrow, that the sun will be shining after all these dark clouds and the smoke from those fires. So I remain optimistic that better days are yet to come.
Right. Well, Bill, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you here.
All right.
Bill Heinecke.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
One of the legends of our industry.
You flatter me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good, Manav. Thank you. Okay, super.
Thank you, gentlemen.